The difference between strength and self abandonment. Hi and welcome. My name is Uzma from Holistic Heart Counseling. There is a question I wish more people asked, especially good people, responsible people, helpers, leaders, parents, professionals, the people who carry everyone else. The question is this: what if some of the things I have been calling strength are actually self abandonment? Think about that for a moment. Many people spend decades being praised for behaviors that slowly destroy their well being, working through exhaustion, ignoring their needs, never asking for help, always being available, always saying yes, always caring more. The world often calls this strength. I repeat, the world often calls this as a strength. But is it? Or have we confused strength with sacrifice? This is one of the most important conversations in the entire strong outside, empty inside framework because many people appear incredibly strong on the outside, yet privately feel exhausted, invisible, resentful, disconnected, and emotionally empty. What people see is strong outside. What people don't see is empty inside. Today, we are going to explore the difference between genuine strength and abandonment because understanding this difference has the power to change relationships, to change careers, to change leadership, to change parenting and the relationship you have with yourself. Ask yourself, you can write it down. Ask yourself, when was the last time I felt strong? And when was the last time I felt exhausted from trying to be strong? Those answers may not be the same. The strong people everyone admires. Think about who society admires. The executive who never stops working, the mother who sacrifices everything, the nurse who always um, does one more shift, the social worker who takes every crisis call, the teacher who stays back after hours, the business owner carrying the entire company, the person who never complains, never breaks, never asks for help. Society often rewards these people: promotions, praise, recognition, respect. Yet, something interesting happens. Many of these people eventually burn out. Why? Because admiration and well being are not the same thing. One of the most important insights from researcher and author Brené Brown is that healthy boundaries are necessary for healthy relationships. She often reminds us that the most compassionate people are not the people with no boundaries, they are the people with the healthiest boundaries. This challenges what many of us were taught. Many people believe, many people believe good people sacrifice themselves. That what we have been told from our childhood, that good people sacrifice themselves, healthy people understand. What healthy people understand is good people care for themselves and others as well. They do not forget themselves. This is the healthy people understanding. Those are very different identities. One creates sustainable strength, the other creates eventual collapse, burnout. Let's see the example. Executive example. Imagine a CEO responsible for hundreds of employees. If that CEO never rests, never delegates, never asks for help, never takes leave, people may admire them, but eventually their health suffers, their decision making suffer, their relationships suffer, the company suffers. That is not strength, that is depletion. If you have a workbook, you can write down this question: what behaviors do people admire in you? You can write down in a piece of paper and answer this honestly. What behaviors do people admire in you? And which of those behaviors might secretly be costing you? When strength becomes sacrifice, this is where things become complicated because self abandonment rarely feels wrong at first. In fact, it often feels noble. You help, you support, you rescue, you fix, you carry, you sacrifice, and everyone benefits except you. Dr. Gabermate speaks extensively about self abandonment. He describes how many people disconnect from themselves in order to maintain attachment, approval, belonging, or acceptance. I repeat, he describes how many people disconnect from themselves in order to maintain a- attachment, approval, belonging, or acceptance. In simple terms, people learn to abandon themselves so they can remain connected to others. This often starts very young. A child learns, if I am helpful, I am loved. If I am easy, I am accepted. If I don't have needs, people stay happy. Years later, that child becomes an adult who struggles to say, no, I need help. I am tired. I need support. I matter too. The tragedy is that many people call this as strength. But strength that requires you to disappear is not strength. Strength should make you more connected to yourself, not less. The example we give in a strong outside is people see you as like capable, dependable, strong, And the example, like people empty inside experience examples are like the same person feels exhausted, overwhelmed, lonely, invisible, resentful. That gap is exactly what this framework explores, where self abandonment begins. Most self abandonment does not begin in adulthood, it begins in childhood, not because anybody planned it, because children adapt, children survive, children learn the rules of belonging. Perhaps you became the responsible child, the caretaker, the peacemaker, the achiever, the emotional support child, the child who never caused problems. Carl Jung described something called the persona. The persona is the version of ourselves we create to gain acceptance from the world. Many people develop a strong one persona: the capable one, the helper, the responsible one, the successful one, the person who can handle everything. Over time, the persona becomes so powerful that we forget who we are underneath, who we are underneath it. This is why so many adults eventually ask, I don't even know what I want anymore. Because they spent years becoming who everyone needed them to be, instead of discovering who they actually were. This is not weakness. This is not failure. This is human adaptation. But adaptation is not the same as healing. And eventually, every person reaches a point where they must ask themselves, am I living from my true self? Or am I living from a role I learned long ago? I ask you a question. What role did you play in your family growing up? The achiever, the caretaker, the peacemaker, or the strong one? And write down how might that role still be influencing your life today. The first step toward healing is recognizing you are more than the role you learned to survive. You are more than the strong one. And that is where genuine strength begins. The myth of selflessness. One of the most dangerous beliefs many caring people carry is this: if I am a good person, I should always put other people first. It sounds noble, it sounds kind, it sounds compassionate. But over time, this belief, this belief can quietly become destructive. Many people confuse selflessness with the self erasure. Many people believe that being a good person means always putting other people first. They think love means never asking for help. They think caring means always sacrificing. They think being strong means carrying everyone's burden on their own. But let me ask you something. If your best friend was exhausted, would you tell them to keep pushing? If your daughter never took time to rest because she was always looking after everyone else, would you say that was healthy? If a nurse, counselor, teacher, or leader worked every single day without taking care of themselves, would you think that could last forever? Probably not. Yet, so many people expect exactly that from themselves. They give and give and give until one day they realize they have nothing left to give. Psychologist Dr. Christian Neff, who has spent many years studying self compassion, found something very important. People who are kind to themselves are not weak. In fact, they often cope better with stress. They recover more quickly after difficult time. They are usually more emotionally resilient. Why? Because taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is part of staying emotionally healthy. Think about your mobile phone. If you never charge the battery, eventually it will switch off. Human beings are exactly the same. We all need time to rest, to heal, to breathe, to receive the same kindness that we so freely give to everyone else. The problem is, many people have learned how to care for everyone around them, but they were never taught how to care for themselves. And that is often where the journey from a strong outside to empty inside quietly begins. I give you few sentences and you can complete it. You can complete it. You can actually write on the piece of paper. So complete this sentence. A good person should always, and complete your sentence. What good person should always be like. Now ask yourself, who taught me that belief? And is it helping or hurting me today? I can repeat this uh, question for you to complete this sentence. Okay. The sentence is, a good person should always dot 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 dot. Like, you have to complete this for yourself. Now then ask yourself, who taught me that belief? And is it helping or hurting me today? A strong outside, inside, people see generosity. Empty inside experience, you feel depletion. The cost of always putting yourself last. Every behavior has a cost. Every choice create a consequence. I repeat, every choice we make has a consequence. And when we keep putting ourselves last, sooner or later we pay the price. At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. You skip one break, you ignore your own feelings, you work a little longer, you help one more person, you take one more responsibility. You tell yourself, I will look after myself later. But when this happens again and again, And again, months turn into years. And slowly, something inside you begin to change. You become emotionally tired. You feel mentally drained. Your body starts feeling exhausted. You may find yourself becoming more anxious, more irritable, struggling to sleep, or feeling like you have nothing left to give. Our brain and body are closely connected. When we live under constant stress, our brain stays on high alert. It always it's always looking for the next problem to solve, the next responsibility, the next emergency. After a while, your body starts carrying the stress that you have been trying to ignore. Many people tell me, I don't understand why I'm always so tired. And sometimes I gently ask them, how long have you been putting everyone else before yourself? Let's see the let's talk about the real life example. For example, imagine a business owner. For 10 years, they solve everyone else's problem. Their employees depends on them. Their clients depend on them. Their family depends on them. Everyone needs something. The business grows, the income grows, the responsibilities grows as well. But inside, but from inside, those business owners, they slowly become more tired. One day, they wake up successful but emotionally exhausted. This is one of the hidden costs of always putting yourself last. Take a quiet moment and ask yourself. You can write this question and answer these when in your free time. Where in my life am I always putting myself last? I repeat, where in my life am I always putting myself last? Then ask, is it my health, my sleep, my relationships, my emotional well beings, or maybe my own dreams? Sometimes healing begins with one simple question. When was the last time I cared for myself with the same kindness I give to everyone else? The leader who never said no. Let me tell you about someone I will call Sarah. Sarah was the kind of person everyone admired. She was a successful leader, reliable, responsible. Whenever there was a problem, people called Sarah. If someone needed help, Sarah would always say yes. If extra work needed to be done, Sarah volunteered. If someone was struggling, Sarah quietly carried their burden too. From the outside, people saw a confident, capable, and dependable woman. They often said to her, Sarah is so strong, you can always count on her. She never lets anyone down. But nobody saw what happened after she went home. She was exhausted. Her body was tired, but her mind refused to rest. Even when she was sitting quietly, her thoughts kept racing. She worried about her team. She worried about her family. She worried about everyone else's problems. But she rarely stopped to ask herself, how am I really doing? Even on weekends, she found it difficult to relax because she felt guilty whenever she wasn't doing something for someone else. One day, during a coaching session, Sarah quietly said um, something that completely changed our conversation. She looked down and softly asked, if I stopped carrying everyone else's problems, who am I? Take a moment and really think about those words. I can repeat, I repeat this, what she said. Sarah said, if I stop carrying everyone else's problems, who am I? This question is much deeper than it first sounds. Sarah wasn't only talking about work, she was talking about her identity. For many years, she had believed that her value came before being needed. She believed that being a good leader meant always saying yes. She believed that being responsible meant carrying everything by herself. She believed that asking for help was a sign of weakness. Little by little, helping others stopped being something she did. It became who she believed she was. In the strong outside, empty inside framework, we call this the strong one identity. The strong one identity develops when a person becomes so used to being the helper, the caretaker, the problem solver, the peacemaker, or the responsible one that they begin to believe this is where their value comes from. Without even realizing it, their identity becomes connected to always being available, always being dependable, always being strong. They begin telling themselves, people need me. I can't let anyone down. If I stop, everything will fall apart. Everyone else comes first. At first, these thoughts sound kind and responsible. People often praise them for being caring, generous, and dependable. But over time, there is a hidden cost. While everyone else receives your time, your energy, your care, and your compassion, you slowly stop giving those same things to yourself. You become so busy looking after everyone else that you slowly lose sight of your own needs, your own dreams, your own health, your own emotional well being. This is where self abandonment quietly begins. Not because you are selfish, not because you are weak, but because somewhere along the way you learned that everyone else's needs mattered more than your own. Real healing begins when you realize something very important. You are more than the role you play, you are more than the leader, more than the helper, more than the caretaker, more than the achiever, more than the person everyone depends on. Your worth has never depended on how much you carry. Your value has never depended on how much you sacrifice. That is why healing is about much more than changing your behavior. Healing is about gently rebuilding your identity, learning that you can still be kind, still be compassionate, still care deeply about others without abandoning yourself. Because lasting transformation happens when your identity changes, not just your habits. And that is one of the foundations of the strong outside, empty inside framework. Healing begins when you realize that you can care for others without forgetting to care for yourself. Take a moment and ask yourself. You can write down this on a piece of paper. Which role has become part of your for my identity? I repeat, which role has become part of my identity? The strong one, the helper, the caretaker, the peacemaker, the achiever. Once you write down this question, now gently ask yourself two more questions. How has this role helped me become the person I am today? I repeat, how has this role helped me become the person I am today? And the other question is, and what has it quietly cost me? My peace, my health, my relationships, or even my sense of who I really am? Take your time and write down all the answers. Sometimes the journey towards healing doesn't begin by changing what you do. Sometimes it begins by changing what you believe about who you have to be. What healthy strength really looks like. So, if constantly putting yourself last is not real strength, then what does healthy strength actually look like? This is one of the biggest misunderstanding I see in counseling. Many people believe that being strong means never asking for help, never saying no, never resting, never, always giving, always carrying someone else's problems. But that isn't healthy strength. That is emotional exhaustion waiting to happen. Real strength looks very different. Healthy strength includes healthy boundaries. Healthy strength includes respecting your own needs. Healthy strength includes taking time to rest without feeling guilty. Healthy strength includes asking for help when life becomes too heavy. And sometimes healthy strength means saying no, not because you don't care, but because you also matter. Many people worry that if they stop saying yes to everything, people will think they have changed. They worry they will disappoint others or that people won't need them anymore. But let me ask you a question. If your mobile phone battery was almost empty, would you keep using it all day without charging it? Of course not. You already know that if you never recharge the battery, eventually stops working. Human beings are no different. Your emotional energy also needs to be restored. You cannot continue giving your time, your patience, your compassion, and your love without also giving those things back to yourself. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl author of Men's Search for Meaning, survived unimaginable suffering during the Holocaust. One of his greatest insights was that people are able to endure incredibly difficult experiences when they remain connected to meaning and purpose. I repeat, one of his greatest insights was that people are able to endure incredibly difficult experiences when they remain connected to meaning and purpose. But there is something very important to remember: meaning is not the same as martyrdom. Living with purpose. Living with purpose does not mean destroying yourself in the process. You can have a meaningful life without abandoning yourself. You can care deeply about people without carrying responsibilities that belong to them. You can support someone without trying to rescue everyone. You can love others without forgetting to love yourself. In the strong outside, empty inside framework, this is what healthy transformation looks like. It is not about becoming harder, it is not becoming colder, it is not about becoming selfish, it is about becoming whole. It is learning that caring for yourself is not taking something away from other people. It is making sure you have enough emotional energy to continue caring in a healthy and sustainable way. Because when you look after yourself, you don't become a weaker person, you become a stronger one who gives from a place of fullness, not from a place of exhaustion. A strong outside says, I have to carry everything. Healthy strength says, I will carry what is mine and I will let go of what belongs to someone else. Empty inside says, my worth depends on what I do for other people. Healing says, my worth has never depended on how much I achieve, rescue, help, perform, or sacrifice. Take a moment and think about today. Write down three responsibilities you are carrying right now. Once you write down your three responsibilities you're carrying right now, then gently ask yourself, which of these truly belong to me? Number one. Number two, which of these belong to someone else? Number three, which burden have I been carrying simply because I find it difficult to say no? Sometimes one honest answer can completely change the way you live your life. True strength is not carrying every burden. True strength is having the wisdom to know what is yours to carry and the courage to let go of what isn't. I recommend, I repeat, at the end, at the end of this, when once you write down all the answers, repeat this sentence after me. Healing doesn't ask you. Healing doesn't ask you to stop caring about others. It simply asks you to stop forgetting yourself. I repeat, Healing doesn't ask me to stop caring about others. It simply asks me to stop forgetting yourself. The question that changes everything. Every transformational journey begins with a question. Not a complicated question, not a psychological theory, a simple question, a courageous question, a life changing question. The question is this: what is this costing me? Not what is it costing other people. What is it costing me? What is constantly saying yes costing me? What is constantly rescuing costing me? What is constantly carrying everyone else's emotions costing me? What is constantly putting myself last costing me? For many people, this is the first time they have ever asked that question because their attention has always been focused outward. Other people's needs, other people's feelings, other people's expectations, other people's problem. But healing begins when attention starts returning home to yourself. Many high achievers, helpers, leaders, and caregivers discover something surprising. The cost has often been enormous. The cost may include burnout, anxiety, exhaustion, lost opportunities, health problems, relationship difficulties, loss of identity, emotional loneliness, a life that looks successful but feels empty. There is where awareness becomes powerful because awareness creates choice and choice creates transformation. Viktor Frankl wrote, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and that space lies our freedom. The moment you become aware of self abandonment, you create that space. And in that space, new choices become possible. Complete the sentence. You can write down on the piece of paper and then complete the sentence. My self abandonment has cost me, and now complete the sentence. I can repeat. My self abandonment has cost me, and then complete the sentence. And then after that, write for 5 minutes without stopping. Many people discover their healing begins here. Reclaiming yourself. If self abandonment developed over years, healing also takes time. But every healing journey begins with a small act of self respect, not dramatic changes, small decisions, small boundaries, small moments of honesty, a small act of courage. Perhaps healing begins with when you stop apologizing for having needs. Perhaps it begins when you ask for help. Perhaps it begins when you rest without guilt. Perhaps it begins when you stop trying to earn your worth. One of the central idea in the strong outside empty inside framework is this: your worth is not something you earn. Your worth is something you already possess. Many people spend decades trying to earn love through achievement, earn belonging through helping, earn approval through sacrifice, earn value through performance. But what if your value existed before all of that? What if your worth existed before the achievements, before the caregiving, before the responsibilities, before the sacrifices? This is where healing becomes identity transformation. Not I must do more, but I am ready, I'm already enough. This is one of the most difficult and liberating shifts a person can make. You can write this question and answer yourself. What would change in your life if you truly believed my worth does not depend on how much I do for other people? Continue your healing journey. If today's conversation resonated with you, if you recognize yourself in these patterns, if you have spent years being strong for everyone else while quietly neglecting yourself, I invite you to continue your healing journey. In my book, Why You Feel Empty Even When You Are Strong, we explore many of themes discussed throughout the Strong Outside, Empty Inside framework, including the strong one identity, the caretaker identity, people pleasing, over responsibility, emotional exhaustion, self abandonment, achievement addiction, and the hidden emotional wounds that often sit beneath these patterns. This book is designed to support not only individual reflection but also future workshops and support groups, coaching, conversation, and healing programs. Because awareness is only the beginning, healing requires understanding, practice compassion, and a willingness to see yourself differently. After today's video, ask yourself, where is my life am I being strong? Where in my life am I being strong? And where in my life am I abandoning myself? This question alone may become one of the most important questions of your healing journey. Your healing matters, and you deserve the same care you so freely give others. My next video is about why helpers often neglect their own needs. Before you go, I would like to invite you to continue the journey because understanding self abandonment naturally leads to another important question. Why do helpers so often neglect their own needs? Why do the most caring people frequently struggle to care for themselves? Why does self care create guilt? Why does rest feel uncomfortable? Why does saying no feel selfish? And why do so many helpers continue giving long after they are emotionally exhausted? In my next video, we'll explore the psychology of helping, the guilt of putting yourself first, the origins of chronic overgiving, the emotional rewards of being needed, and how to practice compassion without losing yourself. We will explore insights from psychology, neuroscience, attachment theory, and real life experience. Because caring for others should never require abandoning yourself, and helping others should not come at the cost of your own well being. This next conversation may help you understand patterns that have been shaping your life for years. Join me in the next video. Why helpers often neglect their own needs. Until then, remember this: true strength is not carrying everything. True strength is remaining connected to yourself while caring what is yours. Holistic Heart Counseling: Empower, Heal, Transform. Strong outside, empty inside framework. Because healing begins when you stop abandoning yourself.